Sit down, please.
I saved this chair for you. I like the rocking chair.
Okay. Here we go.
Turn it off.
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Oh, that was. You try again? Want to try again? 1, 2, 3. Much better. Family home evening. Yay. Okay, tonight.
Jason gets to choose the song.
Yep. So first we have an opening prayer. Sam.
Put your hands so we can pray.
Go ahead.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day and we're thankful for our many opportunities. Please bless us that we can have a good family home evening tonight in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I
Hey,
skipped
Danny or David,
Whoever you are.
what song should we sing?
Should we sing a song?
Your favorite song? I mean, it's very appropriate now that we have snow outside. Should we sing Once There Was a Snowman?
Do we do snowman?
Little smile. Little tiny smile.
So
Yeah, a little bounce.
Okay.
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 Okay, everyone get down to the room.
Sure.
Okay, you ready?
Once
there was a snowman, snowman, snowman.
Once there was a fire with top,
Top, top. In the sun he
grew tall, in the sun he danced until he couldn't stop on the small
That fun?
snowman.
Yay, the David. Oh, you wanted it to go on?
You picked a good song. High five.
Yay.
Come to mom.
Boom. You want to carry Mama?
Okay, mama.
Okay. Mainly, should we do scriptures?
Yes and double yes, yes, yes.
Good choice.
Good answer.
Okay, Danny, you're the lesson, so you've got to pick out like the really salient points.
Yep.
So I
This
have to
week
pick
we
out
are
the best points.
studying the lesson from 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus, and Philemon. That's 4 books.
Holy moly.
4 different books.
It's quite a
Four.
bit.
Well, yeah, 4 entire books.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there's Timothy 1.
1st Timothy and 2nd Timothy.
Yeah, remember I was going to do Timothy.
That's part of your goals, right? That you were setting. You should. Okay.
Wait.
Sounds pretty good. In the epistles Paul wrote to Timothy, Titus, and Philemon, we get a glimpse into the heart of the servant of the Lord. Unlike Paul's other epistles to the entire congregations, these were written to individuals, Paul's close friends and associates in God's work. And reading them is like listening in on a conversation. We see Paul encouraging Timothy and Titus, 2 leaders of congregations, in their church service. We see him entreating his friend Philemon to forgive a fellow saint and treat him like a brother in the gospel. Paul's words were not addressed to us directly, and he may never have expected that so many people would one day read them. Yet we find in these epistles counsel and encouragement for us, whatever our personal ministry in the service of Christ might be. Okay, so let's go down to the family home evening section. There we go.
Yeah, this one looks really great.
So there's one verse here, and then a little bit of an activity we can do. Okay, Danny? Okay. Lesson activity. Okay, verse 12. Danny, I think Danny should read it since that's part of his goals.
Okay. Oh, no. Let no man deceive. Deceive?
Nope. It's D-E-S-P-I-S-E. So des is right. And then P-I. I. Despise.
Despise. What does despise mean?
what does despise mean?
Like to
Good
hate.
question.
To hate or dislike or to be
Like-
jealous of or to
It's much, would you say it's much jealous is like snooty, like I'm
or
above
to be
you,
really-
like I'm way better than you.
Let's see what Google has to say, right? Define despise. Feel contempt or deep repugnance for.
What is repugnant?
It's like repel or something where you
Something
it
that
gets
is
gross or it's
despised.
like, oh, I don't like that at all. Okay, so let no man despise,
They,
not they.
one second. Thy
Mm-hmm.
youth, but be through.
It's not a word.
Thou. It's not a word we
Sorry.
commonly use except in scriptures. It's a formal. It's now considered a formal way of saying you.
Even though it used to be informal.
Yes.
You?
It used to be
So that word is thou.
thou,
I don't.
but be thou. That means you.
An example of the believer in world in
Not world.
word
In word.
conversation.
Conversation. Yep. Melee.
And
Melee.
charity. Does that
Do you want me to cut it out?
2.
charity?
1.
Yeah, charity. Charity.
Charity. Yep.
In what are you thinking? It says
Close.
so spirit.
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 Mm.
In faith. In say what you're thinking. When
You said it.
spirit.
I'm just cutting it up for you.
Looks super close. Super duper duper. I know it has the same letters of spirit, so.
Well, it has some. Purity.
What you thinking?
Just start sending it out and I'll tell you if you get some of the sounds wrong.
Okay, sound it out loud enough so pure.
Yeah. Pure.
Purity.
Purity. You got it. Just that's right. So let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers. In word and conversation, in charity and spirit, in faith and purity. So, what do you think it means? Let no man despise thy youth. Let no man despise your youth.
So, I guess, let no man. I can think of 2 meanings already.
Okay? What do you think,
Meaning
Sam?
number 1, don't hate who you were. Meaning number 2, which sounds far more likely, don't hate your kids.
That's a good way of thinking of it. So this is Paul writing to Timothy. So do you think Timothy is younger or older than Paul?
Older?
Nope,
He's younger.
much younger.
So he's saying, don't let anyone look down on you just because you're young, right? He's saying, just because you're young, you can still be an example of the believers.
Yep. Did you know? So was Nephi in the Book of Mormon? Was he a good example to his brothers?
Mm-hmm.
Was he the oldest?
No. Nope.
Nope.
Quite the opposite.
He was almost the youngest of the brothers. So it's saying it's kind of like that same thing where Laman and Lemuel, they kind of despised Nephi because he was being a good example of a believer,
He was just their
younger
younger
brother, right? And they didn't want to listen to their younger brother because, especially in that culture, the older brothers, eldest brother would receive everything that their father had and would have all the blessings and would be considered the next in line or the main heir.
Yeah.
But in this case, Nephi was being the better example there. Okay.
Do you have to be someone who's older to be an example? No. And I mean, sometimes, hopefully, usually, right, as people get older, they learn more things so they can be a good example, right? It doesn't mean that, like, oh, well, you're old, you can't be a good example. But it's saying, look, just because you're young, that doesn't mean that you can't be a good example.
You can always be
You
good.
can always be a good example, even when you're young.
Even if you're a grandpa or read that.
So it goes on to say how you can be an example of the believers in word. What does that mean?
And what you say,
Mm-hmm. In conversation
that means like talking. So like,
and how
We're
you talk
in-
to people.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Well, and word could also be like written
Written
word.
word.
So you can have written word or spoken word.
yeah,
And conversation would be conversations like we're having now.
No, I'm thinking like in word, in what you say, in conversation, in how you say it.
That could
Yep.
be another way to think of it, yeah.
Okay.
And then in charity,
And what's in charity mean?
I think it's a place where you give money. Is that what?
So yeah, you have charities, which are places where you could give money or something, but charities are places where we serve other people.
Yeah, so when it says be an example in charity, that means you are being an example of the attribute of charity or the personality
So
or
like,
the characteristic.
With
So what-
teachers, giving.
Yeah, no, charity, well, kind of, but charity is more about what is charity? Pure love of Christ.
Uh-huh.
So showing that love of Christ and how loving the way Christ would love.
So like doing service, I like.
Yeah, by doing service or
Yeah. So charities are organizations that are set up in order to serve other people the way that Christ would serve them, in theory.
that's the idea.
And so you can talk about a charity, and that would be like what you were thinking of, like a homeless shelter or the Red Cross, blood banks, things like that. Or you can talk about having charity or being charitable.
Okay.
Yes, a charity is a food, but we're talking about charity.
In spirit. Okay. In faith. Be an example of faith. What does it mean to be an example in faith?
To like set an example, like for David or something. Be faithful the way that you should be.
Yeah, like to exercise faith.
Yeah, if you're being an example in faith, you're showing people around you and you're showing God that you are actively exercising faith. You're going to church, you're saying your prayers, you're choosing to believe his doctrines and his commandments, even when it might be hard to do so, right? And in purity. What does it mean to be an example in purity? You know what does it mean to be pure?
Like pure is kind of synonymous with the clean, like absolutely clean.
So if we were to talk about
Pure.
something that was pure gold,
Like
what
that,
would it be made out
it
of?
would be like only gold, and nothing else.
Would it have like some aluminum in there?
Nope. It would just be like
a solid block of gold. You know, those you usually see in movies. That's basically solid gold, and there's like no
Except-
stuff on it. It's just like a big block of gold. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, except
I mean that like if it was totally pure, it would mean that every single molecule would be just only gold.
yeah, not a single atom or anything.
And so what would it mean for us? What would we want to be like that would make us pure?
Would it?
maybe the
Yeah.
sacrament.
And what does that do for us?
Well, it's
Renews our baptismal covenant, and
And it makes us like Jesus. Yeah, we're able to purify ourselves to be like Jesus.
Yeah. Can you guys think of any good examples in your life or of those people, the examples of the believers? Who are good examples of believers in your life?
I
maybe Jesus. Jesus was a great one.
well,
What about your examples in your life on earth?
Think of people who
Yeah.
Dad.
I was
Try to be examples.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say that.
And Granny and Grandpa.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe when we go to church, primary teachers
Your
and stuff.
primary teachers.
Yeah.
Your bishop.
Yeah. Where
Maybe when you're.
pass it.
You lick the plate, buddy.
Yeah, like
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
you can think
Want
of.
more? What does he have?
Easy to think of
Okay.
billions of examples.
Okay.
Because he actually, you can learn something from every.
He's a growing boy. So yep, a prophet. So like, and all the apostles and general authorities that we learned from during General Conference. Those are good examples of believers, right?
Yeah, you can learn something from anyone.
Yeah, you can always learn from. There's always something you can learn from other people, but it's always great to find really good examples that are good to inspire us to follow Jesus Christ.
1, oh,
Okay,
9, 8.
so let it be written. So
let
let
it
it be done. Boom. We need to. We're gonna do our treat first, and then we'll do time with God. Okay?
So I just skip the activity.
That will be our activity.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's an important one that we just need to get done.
Okay,